Right, fam. Good morning. Um, this is the 13th day of February 2022, and I promised to make this video to explain one or two things in the financial markets, which will give you an edge in your trading and all of that. So let's go straight to the point. This is the mitigation theory. I know that many of you have heard a little about this, and you're wondering what really is mitigation. And it happens to be that mitigation is one of the most important topics that one should know about in trading, right? It gives you the ability to know where the market is going to likely turn and all of that, right? I want to use this opportunity to appreciate MenTFX for his selfless service in making sure we learn this thing, because mitigation had been a mystery, right? I had known about this, but he did a lot to unveil the secrets behind that, right? So I really appreciate MenTFX for his job, so his good job so far. And all right, so let's go to the point for today. All right. So when we're talking about mitigation, we are referring to the idea that the market would always come back into zones, right? Let's assume that maybe we have something like a box. I want to use a vivid example to explain this, right? Let us assume we have something like a box like this, something like a box. And I assume that I'm trying to paint this box, so I want to make this box fill with what black color, right? So if I go just once like this, if I go once, believe me, this box will continue being yearly. You wouldn't even notice that I did a black paint or something, or I ran a black paint through it, right? But when I go back to the start and then go again, you can see that my mark is now more visible, right? So mitigation simply means the market going back to a particular point of interest and then tapping into it before going back. All right. So that was I was just trying to explain. So going once, all right, it's not there's no leaf footprint, right? Because of the speed, or let's say the volatility that the market moves with, sometimes it's kind of creates zones in which it must go to mitigate. Mitigate simply means to, let's say, tap into, to reduce the risk, to close orders. Like for instance, someone has a running order, or maybe a bank or institution has a running order. Mitigation simply means the market is going into that zone to close the orders and take more orders, right? Zones of interest, meaning that the market always moves from one zone of interest to the other. Let's assume that maybe we had something like this. The market kind of created a low, and then it was a kind of bullish market. So market was bullish, created a higher high, and then it gave a break of structure, right? Now for the market to create this break of structure, it simply means that there are a lot of orders here that could move price all the way to take out this low, right? So you call this our break of structure, right? So now, knowing that this has occurred, we are expecting the market to come here, you know, because more people will see this break of structure and would now want to get parts into this market. So with the market being able to sell this much to break structure, I mean that there was some kind of large orders placed somewhere around there, or a lot of people have their orders inside there. So some people that have not seen this, that just saw this, they will say, okay, we expect the market to do was to come and give us a lower high. So whenever the market makes a break or structure, it's the market to come to me to tap into a zone above to give you a lower high. So usually this is an area to be mitigated, this zone that created that break or structure. So I will explain more on that. But usually the market does this. So the market do something like this. And I don't know if you've seen that happen before continue selling down, right? You see the market tap some into the supply zone and then continue selling down. This happened vividly on VIX 75 just yesterday, right? Let's go to VIX 75. I saw this play out perfectly on volatility 75, right? It played out perfectly. So while that's lows, I even took the trade, but why that lows, let me continue. So we always see the market go into zones of interest to tap into them and then continue moving, right? Let's look at this. Let's look at this. Look at this. Let's look at this. All right. Just let's zoom a bit. You want to see how this has been playing out. Okay. Let me move the drawing tool so you can see this clearly. Right. So this is it. I'll use live examples to show you this thing. So look at this. Look at this zone here. you can see that after the markets made this particular high, let me highlight that. So after the market made this particular high here, after this particular supply zone here, because what happened, the market came and tapped into this zone and broke our structure. How did it break structure? Because it did what? It did what? It cleared this low, right? So remember the markets make a lower high and lower low, lower high, lower. So we had a kind of supply zone here. Markets created a supply zone. Look at the mitigation into this supply zone. Look at the market structure. Now look at what happened. This zone now became a zone of interest as well. Because why? There was a kind of liquidity sweep and then a break of structure. Look at there was some kind of an equal high here, which was duly swept, and then the market sold that. So now knowing that there are orders there, if you're a smart money trader, you will understand this perfectly. Now, when the market gives a buy to sell candle, usually that candle is in drawdown, meaning that market will eventually go into that candle to mitigate it, right? So look at what happened. Exactly what I'm talking about. Look at this. If you know how to train your eyes to see these stuffs, right? So look at this. Can you see how the market came into that particular candle and then it fell about 100 pips, because this is about 1.328 and it stopped at wow, it's about 110 pips. That was how massive this move was, right? So I will give you okay, look at 75. Is it loaded? No, not yet. So it's not loaded yet. So okay. All right. So these are the zones you should look at for your trades. You should look and take your trades at this kind of zones, supply zones, and all of that. Now let's just look at the things that you should expect to be mitigated. There are three basic things which you expect to be mitigated, right? There's those zones where you expect the market to trade back into to give you entry and then you enter your trade, right? So there are three things that you should look out for mitigations to occur. The first thing you should look out for is what we call the imbalance, right? You should look, some people call it IPA, imbalance price action, and all of that. You can call it an IPA, imbalance or IPA, imbalance price action or inefficient price action, whatever you wish to call it. And the next thing you expect the market to mitigate are other blocks. The third thing you expect the market to mitigate are demand and supply zones. Right, these are the things that you expect the market to mitigate. And then the final thing you expect the market to mitigate into is what we call institutional candle. Institutional candles. Right. So you should expect all this to be mitigated in the financial market. Institutional candles. Right. So you expect the market to mitigate these 3 or 4 things. There may be more, but for me, these are the ones that are very important, right? And let's start with the first one, an imbalance. An imbalance is simply a gap created in the market. So I'll just use live chat to explain this. I will not go too much into details. I'll just use the live chat to explain what this is about, right? All right. So an imbalance is simply when the market creates gaps in the market. Some call it fair value gaps. So look at this. You can see that the market sold from this point to this point. Look at this gap. You can see that there was no buy order here. There was no buy. Market only sold. Look at this gap that was created. So this is what we call an imbalance, right? An imbalance is when the market creates gap. Usually, you expect the market to retrace, buy, sell, buy, sell. But look at this gap that was created when the market only has sales here. So you can see the market as a moving. When it buys a bit, it sells. It moves up again, it sells. And look at it created the gap here. Can you see this? Okay, I want to see this thing clearly. Look at it created a kind of gap here. So kind of imbalance. And look at how the markets came back to fill it. Can you see it? The markets created a gap here, came and filled it. So this imbalance has been filled, right? So you can now ignore that one. This is how the markets move. It must always feel imbalance. And look at this. Markets came into this imbalance, although it broke straight to the upside, but it gives you an area of interest where the market is likely going to go to in the nearest future, right? So look at an imbalance here. So whenever you see an imbalance on maybe on the weekly time frame or the daily time frame, expect the market to go to fill it. So, or maybe you had a sell setup here. Maybe it's a weekly time frame, or maybe you had a sell setup here, and you're seeing an imbalance above your entry. You should likely be, you would like always, usually, more often than not, you will be stopped out on such a trade, right? So areas of imbalance are areas that the market usually mitigates, right? So when market creates imbalance, expect the market to mitigate such a place. Look at this. Look at the imbalance that was created there. Look at this. Even though the market took some time, look at the market eventually. Can look at the gap that was created. When the market bought crazily, right? It created a kind of imbalance here. Look at the gap here. Look at how the market eventually came into imbalance. So imbalance alone is not enough to give you a trading idea or trading setup. You can use imbalance to know where the market is going to go in the next trade. So you can use it for your take profit. So imagine you are selling here maybe you took your sell somewhere around there, right? Maybe you took your sell somewhere around there at the top here, right? So you saw an imbalance below. You have seen a good area of take profit because you said the market to come and feed the imbalance. So you know, knowing that the market is going to likely come to feed this imbalance. So this imbalance, knowing mitigation helps you to know where to look out for trade ideas or trade opportunities and all of that, right? So let us continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. So now the next thing we expect the market to mitigate are other blocks, right? Other blocks are simply those last buy candle before a massive sell, lesser candle before a buy, and all of that. So you should expect the market to mitigate other blocks, right? So there are other blocks that led to a break of structure. Expect the market to mitigate it. So whenever you see a market give a POS, expect the market to mitigate such an other block. Look at the market was kind of buying. I explained this earlier. You saw the market giving some kind of bullish structure, and then the market comes and gives a break of structure. So now this becomes what an area of interest. They call it, some people call it a return to order block, ROTO, right? Some people call it an ROTO. So you can now highlight this last buy candles that took out structure. I gave you that break of structure. Let's declare this higher low. So you can now look at that candle because it has to be mitigated for entries. So the market will do something like this and then sell down, right? So those are it's second thing you should explain the market to mitigate. So the market to mitigate other blocks. So the market to mitigate other blocks. Right now, the next thing you should expect the market. Look at this. Look at what happened there. Just look at this. Is a very vivid example of what I'm talking about. Look at this last buy candle that led to a break of structure. So if we are trying to let's say highlight this. This is 4-hour time frame, so it may not be really clear to you. But using your eyes, you can certainly see that this actually played out, right? This actually played out. So you can see that there was a last kind of higher high here. You can see there was kind of high here, higher low, higher high. All right, so market gave some kind of low here, came down. All right, so okay. I still market kind of buy. The was kind of buy. Look at this was the last higher low that was formed. This zone here, let me just highlight that. So this was the last higher low. This was our last higher low, and you can see the market cleared the last higher low, which was here, and then gave a break of structure. I don't know why the market it's not coming up. So my network is kind of bad. All right, okay. So this was our last higher low. Look at the market cleared the higher low. And look what happened. It came and tapped into this last order block. Although it kind of give it a little sweep, but this is still mitigation. Look at the last buy candle. The market cleared the structure, came and tapped into it, and then continue selling down. So that is what we call our order blocks, right? Those last buy candles before a BOS, last second before a BOS, and all of that. So order blocks and demand and supply zones are usually used interchangeably because they usually look alike. So supply zone may not be an order block, it may just be a zone that you see heavy orders. Like this is a supply zone. For instance, you can see that you can watch my video on demand and supply zone. I don't want to go much into details of that. So look at this. So look at this. So you can see that. Look at this point here. This was a kind of supply zone. The market kind of mitigated, although it did not continue selling, but this was a good zone of entry, a supply zone. Right? That was a very good supply zone and all of that. So I'm trying to see if I can find more examples of this on the rate charts. Right? Trying to see if I can find more examples of this. Right. So look at this. Market created the supply zone here again. Look at this last buy candle for this. So look at market kind of tap into this last series of buy candles, and then you can see that has been a very bearish market. That's been a very, very bearish market, right? I'm trying to see if I can get 775. I don't know why it's not loading up. I think maybe network is bad. I think network is kind of bad. Should have loaded up by now. Okay, let me see if it's going to work this time around. Maybe so on that tab. Right. Let's see if it's going to work this time around, right? So these are the second zones that you expect to be mitigated, right? Demand, supply zones, order blocks, and then institutional candles. Institutional candles are those candles that take out stop loss before, turning the other direction. That is a smart money concept, right? So you can see what happened there. I kind of gave an example with this earlier. So you can see that the market kind of gave some kind of equal high here. So if you bring out your trend line and try to mimic that, you can see that the market gave an equal high here. Look at the equal high here. So people were looking to sell this market with their stop loss maybe above this week because they sell this rejection. Look what happened. The market gave you heavy buy, took out stop loss, and then sold massively. So whenever you see a sell to buy candle or buy to sell candle with a lot of orders or a heavy push. Those are candles to be mitigated, and they're called institutional candles, right? So you can see what happened there. Look at this. Look at how the market's week created this. Look at how the market came and fell 100 pips. Right. So these are candles that you should always look at for your entries. There are candles you should look at for your entry. This kind of candles, right? I was trying to see 75 can give it. Okay, yeah, it gave it. Finally, has opened up. So I'm trying to see if you can get that. I can get a trade idea I took yesterday, right? Let's remove this. Let's remove this. I got this beautiful trade idea yesterday, and it played out past wonderfully well. It took place well. So look at this. I was looking at this, right? I saw this supply zone created there, and then I saw the market sell heavily after creating the supply zone, right? So I kind of highlighted this to the future, right? I saw this zone created. So look at this supply zone that was created. You know, it has to be mitigated just to once. So this gave me a very good, beautiful profit on this trade. So I saw the supply zone that was created, and then look what I saw. I saw the market took out this low. Whenever you see a zone take out a structure, then you should be looking to enter those kind of zones, right? Look at how the market kind of gave this. Look at this supply zone, took out structure. It means the market came and tapped here. Look at this is what we call mitigation. You know, as there were orders here, right? Look at this kind of equal high. Look at this is supply zone. It tapped into the supply zone, and then look at how it fell massively. And look at what happened again. Another mitigation. Look at this last buy candle, right? It's kind of mitigated this candle, right? These are candles you're looking at for. Those candles with orders, right? Orders. Look at how the markets came and mitigated into this candle, and look how it bought massively and took out this. So mitigation usually occurs once, right? Sorry, it occurs once. Look at this zone, because I took out structure. Look at this one happened. Now, collect this structure. Right, so this one has been mitigated because market has already tapped into this zone before giving us a BOS. Right, this is another zone to be mitigated. Right, you look at those candles or those last buy candles, last sell candles with a lot of orders that took out structure, and then you should plan your trade ideas, knowing the trend. You should not do this counter trend because you likely take it out. So this is a zone you should look at for this zone here. Right, you can see that there was a supply zone here, right, which is a kind of institutional candle. Because this is interchangeable because people have been trying to sell here because I saw this kind of weak. And look what happened. The markets weak them out and then so now this is the most valid trade idea, this particular one, because that is the only zone I've seen that has not been mitigated, right? That is the only zone that has not been mitigated. So if market should come into this point, I'll be looking to sell. The market can get into this zone of interest, right? So I see an area to be mitigated, right? You should expect the market to tap into zones that created a break of structure and all of that, right? Now this gives you a way to make your interest. So whenever you see maybe a market comes into your point of interest and you're looking for where to enter, look out for those last buy candles, those last sell candles which gave a heavy push. Like for this, we can say this was the last sell candle that gave this heavy push. And look at this one here. So you should always look out for all those candles that gave this heavy push, right? Let's look at this. Look at my arrow so you see clearly. Look at this. Look at this was the last sell candle, right? This was the last sell candle before this heavy push. You can see that the market gave this. This was the last second before this heavy push. And look at this one now. Look at this. This was the last buy candle, right? The last buy second before this heavy push, right? You can see the market came and mitigated into this candle and then all the way up, right? You should always consider the trend when doing this. Now, I think the market is kind of mitigating this. Look at this last buy candle. Look at what is happening. The market has tapped into it. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Right? It has mitigated this way here. So this has mitigated. So the market maybe to tap into this particular one. Okay. Market might tap into this particular candle now, this candle here, and buy into this one. So let's see what happens when the market gets here. It's likely buy into this one. This is the theory of mitigation. Markets coming to fulfill orders, coming to close smart money positions, and all of that. So if you enjoyed this video, do want to share, like this video, share it with your friends, like, subscribe to the channel, and all of that, right? We will see you in the next video. All right. Considering our weekly analysis, we are having our Valentine offer, our Valentine discount. I'll be talking more about that in our next video. Right? It's actually a 50% discount on our mentorship course, which is going to run from today and tomorrow. Right? Between today and tomorrow, our mentorship program will be off. So if you want a part of it, we are giving a 50% off. Right? I will talk more about that in the next video. But if you, for the sake of those that are in this video, that are watching this video, all right, I will just be talking about it. So you should just send this offer ends by 15th of January, 12 a.m. That means that is immediately 14th, and this is our love offer, our love discount to you. We're giving a 50% off. And instead of paying $60, you're paying $30 on our mentorship program, right? 50% off, and it's running with just today and tomorrow. After tomorrow, which is the 14th of February 2022, the offer is off, right? So if you enjoyed this video, do want to share with your friends. Don't forget to join our Telegram channel where we'll be posting our weekly analysis and all of that, right? Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. Cheers and God bless. See you in the next video.